Okay. Just refreshing. Good morning.
Good morning.
Shabbat Shalom. All of my non-Hebrew speaker friends, they all know Shabbat Shalom. When we talked on Tuesday and we thought about what are we going to speak today about, what are we going to speak about today? The first thing that came to my mind was the word fantasy. And then you said, did we speak about truth? So I thought, okay, we felt something similar, but we called it, we had different words. But I found the essence to be the same core, the same essence, like two sides of the same coin. So I just wanted to say that as a little teaser before we begin. I will give our little introduction to what we do here. For those who listen for the first time, my name is Noah and this is Ruti. And together every Friday morning, sorry, we choose a topic and we wish to talk about what really is, meaning what does it look like when we look at this topic from the way we got used to thinking about it, the way maybe we inherited the topic, the word, and then it became like a fixed thing, a fixed idea in our minds and therefore in our experience. And what does it look like? What does it feel like when we approach this topic, when we encounter this topic, not from the dimension of thoughts, not from the dimension of definitions and fixed ideas, but from what we call what really is, which is just the dimension that is not made of words. When we cannot explain and we cannot understand, but yet maybe we can speak about.
Mm-hmm.
So we are jumping into quite vast water when we choose to speak about truth. And I like that you said, let's speak about truth and not about the truth. It sounds like a minor difference, but maybe it's actually huge different. And in general, when we add the to something, I never noticed, but now I noticed that immediately it makes it a thing, the thing. You know, I have a band with a friend. I say like this because we never published almost anything, but we consider ourselves to have a band, and we call our band Sad Bitches. And when we decided about the name, we thought about, are we gonna be the Sad Bitches or are we gonna be just Sad Bitches? And we decided to just be Sad Bitches. So I suggest, unless you want to add something before we plunged in.
No.
Okay, so I suggest that I will read the first sentence in Wikipedia about truth. And from there, we take it from there. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, truth is the property of being in accord with fact or reality. In everyday language, truth is typically ascribed to things that aim to represent reality or otherwise correspond to it, such as beliefs, propositions, and declarative sentences. I checked. Declarative sentences, if I understand correctly, is like the common sentence, like I need to go to work, or the dog ate the bone. Yeah, so as clear as it gets. I find this to be quite flat. And at the same time, I feel grateful for this definition. That's what I feel at the moment.
In what sense?
In the sense that it gives me something, it gives me and it gives us something to hold on to. I remember a conversation I had with a woman that I didn't know very well, but you know how women are, like they're plunging into depth quite fast. And we talked about how hard it is to have no certainty and that you have nothing to hold on to. And then I said, well, but we have things to hold on to, you know, there's gravity and I can trust gravity. That if I drop something, it will fall. And she said, well, if you believe in a physical dimension, then yes. And I got confused because what do you mean if I believe in the physical dimension? It's not a matter of belief, but I did get confused because I know that there are so many things that I don't know. So just because I'm experiencing gravity, does it mean it's real? Does it mean it's something I can trust? Does it mean it's a truth? So from that perspective, I'm grateful, or I feel gratitude towards this definition. Like, there is reality, and there are things that are, at least for now, continue to be true. Maybe this is as far as we can say.
So when you hold on to something, and you can give an example, what does it enable you to do, or to feel, or to see? Look for something that you're holding on to.
First thing that came to my mind is that I can hold on to that tomorrow will come. But immediately I see that this is also an illusion.
But if you hold on to something, that means that you need this to be, you need this to exist, because otherwise something happens to you, right? Because you're looking for security or safety.
Yeah, otherwise I'm scared.
So when you hold on to that because you don't want to be scared, if you look for certainty, thinking that without that, you're either in danger or feeling anxiety, you're anxious.
Anxious, yeah, let's say.
Then how would it look like to hold on to something? Okay, what do you do when you hold on to something?
it makes me feel better. I think of it, and then it's like an answer to another thought.
Yeah, but if you do that and you hold on, I'm talking practically.
Yeah.
So how do you hold on to something? So first of all, you have to hold on to it, because otherwise you'll be anxious or something will happen that you do not want to happen. Okay? But then you need to hold on. So what do you do? What's your next step?
I walk towards the thing I'm holding on to. Like let's talk practical. Yeah, let's give an example. I'm going back to my home, to Berlin at the moment, and I don't know yet what will be the. I don't know what is my plan. My life changed recently, and I don't know where I'm heading, and I'm holding on to the fact, like Wikipedia says, that something will happen. You know, I will meet people, they will help me, they will give me directions, they will give me support. Yeah, I'm holding on to this.
So holding on to this is what? Instead of knowing that it will probably happen, but maybe not, if you're holding on to something, how does it impact you? Do you see what's happening to you, to your body, to your breath, to your muscles, to the way that you look at things, to your openness to everything? Do you see what happens when you hold on?
I feel some motivation. It gives me some feeling of motivation.
To what?
To go there, to do it.
But you don't know what you're going to do. So motivation for what?
For moving on.
From where?
From where I'm at.
Why do you need to move on from where you're at?
Because I'm not pleased enough from where I'm at.
And you're holding on to the fact that you're going to meet people motivates you? Because if you don't know this, what will happen?
I guess I will do it anyway.
Even not anyway. You do it, but very differently than with the hope, the holding on to, the needing. Now you come to it from a place of need. You need to make sure, or you need to hope, or you need to work so that you meet other people and things happen and possibilities open up. But if you don't do that, that's how the mind works. The mind says, you are now at a place that you need to either make better or avoid. And as long as that is the situation, you need to make sure that you make it happen. You need to control, you need to act, you need to make the right moves, you need to know where you're going, because otherwise, and we don't stop to ask, and otherwise what? Yeah. Or the mind creates very frightening pictures. Then you'll be at home alone. Nobody will even know that you're there. Nobody would care. That's what happens to people who do not make their lives as they think they are. And those are fears we have. Okay, those are pictures that we have in our minds of people who may be dying and nobody knows that they died until the smell, makes the neighbors invite the police. Okay, that's our nightmare.
Yeah.
Some of our nightmares.
Yeah.
Okay. But then what happens is that I look at my life as a series of either like a list to do, or a must have, or a must not have. And people become a means to an end. Okay? I look at them and I ask the question, what value can they bring to me? What possibilities can they open for me? How would I feel next to them? Because I want to feel in a certain way and I don't want to feel in another way. I also will check my values. I would ask, where do I think I fit better? And so on. And immediately there's friction, fear, and I'm looking at people beginning to use them. Yeah, I'm not talking about vicious egalitarian thought, but I'm talking about, I look at a man and I think, will he be the father of my children? Okay, instead of looking at the man, meeting really, seeing his beauty, seeing what's happening to me with him, being my wisdom, my beauty, being what I really am. Okay, instead, I start calculating, because the minute there's a need, the minute there's a belief in lacking, then immediately the mind starts giving instructions so that it makes sure that you do not stay in a place you don't want to stay, and that you create yourself the life that you wish to have. Okay? That makes us, again, oblivious to the higher wisdom, to the simple wisdom of human beings, simple beauty of human beings, and it takes us to the hands of the ever-lacking mind that creates a dictatorship of fear. Okay, and we might even be proud that we did that, because now we feel safe. You're not safe, okay, from everything that you think you might have or might happen to you. You're not safe, but you feel safe.
Yeah.
That's why you're talking about a fantasy, because the mind creates fantasies.
Yeah.
It creates a coherent picture of the truth. It creates very vibrant words, concepts that we deal with, that we trade with within ourselves and with others, so that we create a picture, an image that we feel safe with and sometimes happy with. But this happiness stands on, or is the result of fear, anxiety, and the thought that would create more fear and more anxiety, saying, I need to control my life, and I need to know where I'm going, and I need to create in them whatever I wish to have. Which sounds very, very, very logical. Okay?
You know, yesterday I watched a cartoon with, it wasn't a cartoon, it was, but a TV series for children. And they were dealing with anxiety with children. So there was like a girls' gang, and they wanted to go to a concert, but it was very, very crowded. So they knew it's going to be crowded, and one of the girls had like anxiety. She was scared of the crowd because she has like a trauma. So, and then the father of the hosting father, who was supposed to take them to the concert, he took her to had a conversation with her, and he told her that he will be there with her, and if she's scared, she can hold his hand, and he promises that nothing will happen to her. And I thought, no, don't say that. You don't know that. You don't know that. She might get lost. She might get just super, super scared, even though you're holding her hand, and get like fucking panic attack that she will stop breathing and need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it got me thinking about how we educate ourselves, how we educate our children to security, that just it's an illusion, that we cannot keep our word. And then it comes out that we're lying. Of course, we're not lying on purpose, definitely not with meaning to harm, but we're not being truthful.
Yes. We're not being truthful, and we're creating ourselves in illusion. These are not the same. These are like double faults, okay? Because it's, on the one hand, we tell ourselves things that are incorrect just in order to calm ourselves down and to create an illusion of safety, okay? Or an illusion of not hurting or not being afraid, okay? Because we created a picture that looks like something. And the second thing is that we think that what we did is good, that what we did is the right thing to do, because we've created a sense of safety or security. And when I coach people, I ask them often, do you realize that what you're saying is that while you're having a sense of security, actually your fear is driving you crazy, because you do believe that the world is a place of fear, okay, or danger. So this is like a volcano, not erupting yet. But above this, you talk positive. You calm yourself down. But you know, now I was watching in Africa a volcano erupting. I usually look for pictures and read what the people are going through, because it's, in a sense, it's exactly this false pretense that we're safe. Okay, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking, but the mountain was not monitored because of lack of money in the last few months. I don't remember exactly how many. So it erupted. It erupted without the people, you know, making any arrangements or fleeing from the place so that the lava would not devastate everything that they have. And many villages were totally devastated. It stopped, last I heard, just in front of the city, but it's still erupting. So you don't know what would happen. Many people were evacuating by cars, by foot, by motorcycles, bicycles, and so on. So the illusion of safety is dangerous. Dangerous in two dimensions, and then we come back to the word truth. Because on the one hand, when I'm feeling safe, when I'm concerned with feeling safe, I make myself numb and detached. Because instead of coming closer and really touching whatever is happening, nature as it shows itself, as it unveils, other people, what they're going through, leaders, what they're saying, weapons, how they're used, whatever is really happening. Instead, I go numb because I feel it's too much for me to come to realize the truth. In that sense, the truth, which means facts. Okay, so I'm not in touch with the facts. I'm not in touch with what's happening because I feel it's overwhelming, and I rather feel as if it's okay. It's like, for example, children taking drugs, using drugs. Parents many times say, I did not know. How could I know, okay, that he was using extreme drugs? It's like, and the question that I ask is, how did you make yourself numb? What were the explanations that you gave yourself in order to calm yourself down, in order to enable you to continue your life as you built them for yourself, not letting anything destabilize you, not letting anything crack the coherent picture, the coherent explanation that you had of the situation. Did you come close? Did you allow yourself to destabilize? Did you allow yourself to let go of this image of yourself and of your life as it should be? And even more importantly, were you willing to let the image of what you think that you can bear or deal with, and when you can't, were you willing, in the name of love, to really make these cracks run down, like, you know, like when you see an earthquake, and then the roads are cracked, the earth is cracked. Yeah, were you willing to do that? And if you weren't, then you were creating yourself an illusion of safety, but you are not in touch with the truth, like the facts. But, and it's a very big but, and it's really, I think, during my life, and I'm now almost 60, I never remember a time where the question of truth was so alive, because conspiracy theories during the Corona year, continuing in many states and countries, the QAnon, the
vaccinations,
the doubts, the amount of doubts that people had and aired, like expressed, concerning what is true and where we are led to believe in something so that we can be weakened and controlled when other things can happen, so that we'll put our attention to certain things so other things can be executed, and without us knowing this or criticizing this in any way. So we'll talk about the truth. About truth. The first thing that we want to realize when we talk about truth is that we're not talking about facts. We're talking about the nature of things. We got used to understanding reality through our mind. The mind is an organ with the ability to think, and it's very limited because it is built to serve certain functions during our lives, and some of them are physical, like the mind needs to interpret a situation, facts of a situation, so that it can give directions to, like, our ability to think needs to give directions to the body what to do. So if a tiger leaps on you, or if there is a crocodile in the water you are washing your body in, or if it's an earthquake, or if it's war, okay, it's your body, the ability to read the situation, to analyze it, to come to terms with the facts, and then act accordingly. This is something that's a faculty of a thought, okay, of our ability to think. But if I only stay with this for a moment, I would say that the mind works in molds, in concepts. It is able to read a situation, to give a reading of a situation according to the building blocks that it has, okay? And the building blocks are thoughts, like basic assumptions, and the glue that puts them together, which is what we call logic, which is another basic assumption or set of basic assumptions that are like, they make the motion possible. So it's like the if-then is possible by the logic, by holding a certain kind of logic, because otherwise it's like one thought and then another thought and another thought, but it's not connected and it's not flowing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that since it understands reality just through that, it is also very limited because it relies on the past of what we have already found out or think that we found out, the common sense of common reality. There is also a place of the logic that we've inherited from the past. And it's also, today, there are only a certain number of modes, a certain number of like boxes.
Packages.
That we can understand the world through them.
Yeah.
So actually, we are totally unable to grasp or to even experience the world as it is, nature as it really is. We experience through our concepts, our experience, our past experience, previous experience, and the way that we are able to see and analyze through the existing box.
Only what manages to get into the package and find its place in this package is what we consider to just, this is what we see, what we really take in account.
Right. So in a sense, not only is it not true, it is not the way that it really is, but it's also distorted. It's not only partial. It's like a mirror that's designed to, make you either very wide or very tall or very,
or with a filter of color or something.
Yeah. So actually, when we say, no, I know it's the truth because it was written in a newspaper, or I saw it, or I feel it, that's how we got used to thinking that we're experiencing truth that is absolutely not true. It is also not it's not a good way to experience even facts, because if I don't have the color blue as a concept in my mind, I would not see it. The eyes would not, the mind would not interpret what the eyes said, so that I don't experience, not that I don't call it by the name blue, I don't see it. There's a very interesting researches that have been done. So when we talk about truth, we talk about the world as it is perceived, or as it really is, without the possibility of, we talk about the world as it is when we don't experience it through the mind. Okay, when we don't experience it through the building blocks of the mind, which are thoughts, and the glue that puts them together, which is logic. The if-then, the conditions, the building blocks of calling things by names and understanding how it goes, that is absolutely not. So the world, it's not even a word, the way we experience things is utterly different. It doesn't go according to our mind. It doesn't go according to our perception. It doesn't go according to our previous experiences, and it doesn't go according to our our ability to conclude, to make conclusions or make decisions. So actually, to the mind, it looks like a no man's land. It looks like a place that is no place.
It's either a desert Or chaos, that's what it will call it, because it doesn't know what to do with it.
Or nothing. It may also be darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Nothing,
so, yeah. So actually, the main thing about everything is that it's not only that we don't go according to how we're used to go, but we're also not able to experience what's there while we are there. Meaning, we are our true nature at every moment of time, but yet what we experience is something very different, because when we think of ourselves and we think of the world, we experience ourselves through thoughts, then it is impossible to do that through thoughts. It's impossible to really know what's there. When we experience this in life, we usually think that we made a mistake, that we're in danger because there's no certainty. We cannot even imagine or even, lure ourselves into believing that there is this order that we got used to think that this is us in the world. So we feel very, very frightened because we are taught to believe that we need to control and to lead and to know where we're going and to be able to monitor whether we're going in the right direction or not, and so on. But if we allow ourselves to really let go of that, what would we see? Meaning, if I allow myself to really be in the midst of the no mind area, which is everything, okay? If I allow myself not to know, if I allow myself not to decide, if I allow myself not to choose, if I allow myself not to control, if I didn't say that yet, then what does it leave me with? What am I left with, and who am I? It's important to know that since we are so dedicated to the mind and we hear so deeply the sounds of the mind and the conclusions it drew during our lives, we experience this place as either depression, if it's a period of life, okay? If it's not just a moment or like 2 days, but if like for a week or a month or 3 months, everything that was considered important faded away. Every certainty that I had about myself and others just doesn't hold water. It's not there. It cannot do anything good. And every frame of reference that I had, having a frame of reference is also being able to compare and to monitor where I'm at, and am I advancing, and am I worth something? Do I bring value into a situation? Everything of those things needs some kind of a holding on or some kind of a frame of reference. And if I don't have this, then actually I feel like I'm walking in the dark.
Yeah, lost in space.
Yeah, lost in space. I feel like everything is foggy. There's nothing coherent, nothing that makes sense. So that's why we sometimes think we're going through depression. Sometimes we think that we go through going mad. And sometimes we even think that we're so non-existent that it looks like death. Okay, it looks like maybe I didn't die with my body yet, but maybe I'm dying, and that's what's happening to me. Or maybe I'm just dead in the sense of I don't feel any motivation. I don't feel anything that, draws me out of my bed, draws me to do something, cause me to create any kind of relationship with anyone. It's like there's no sense, there's no taste in anything.
Yeah.
Okay? These are times that need our responsibility because they call for a different kind of responsibility. What we understood as responsibility, and in the book, what really is, there's this chapter number 2 about the world of fear. We tried to describe or to make it possible to be in touch with the illusion that the mind creates, the hallucination that the mind creates. And it's very alive. It's very, we're used to it. We're thinking like that forever. We've been creating relationships through that. We chose our professions through that. We get out of bed for that. We perceive what we are, what we can or cannot do accordingly. So actually, when it's taken away from us, as I said, it looks like no man's place, no man's land.
Yeah, and I'm a nobody because I don't know who I am. I have no point of reference. I have nothing to hold on to, and I'm lost. And
then we need to say 2 things, and then we go to speak about what really is. When I said that we need to act responsibly, what I mean is that we need to know that we're going through the deepest transformation there is. Meaning, we're awakening from the most fundamental illusion that created my life. It's like, it's the basic of basic assumptions that created a world, standing upon them, relying on them to be the truth. Okay? And suddenly they're taken away. Because if I'm honest with myself, it's not a guru who took that away from me. If I'm honest with myself, then when I look and I let everything go, I don't hold on to anything, then there is this vacant place that looks sometimes like depression or going mad or death, but actually it's a vibrant, very vibrant place. It's like the philosopher David Bohm called it emptiness, and a pregnant emptiness, because all tendencies exist there. Everything is very much alive, very much coherent in the sense that it is the way everything is. So it is the way that everything is one, everything is in motion. Through that oneness, it's intact. There's no chaos there. There's no emptiness there. But for us, it's like entering a room that is a bit dark after I was in the sun. It takes time for me to get used to it. So one thing that is asked of us, and that's what's called being responsible, if I'm loyal to truth, to what really is allowing this time. Okay, it's understanding that it takes time and being humble enough to take this time and not to think that either, okay, I now see everything, or I don't have time for this, so I can't allow myself to do that. Okay. The second thing that responsibility calls for is to be an observer. But unlike what we're used to think about being an observer, that we usually look at an observer as someone far away or out of the situation.
I need to detach myself from the situation to be able to observe it. Yeah, like step away from emotions. Yeah, separate the. Yeah, this is a big confusion. I think many of us have about this.
Yeah.
So,
because
so say what is not like that. Being the observer.
So I'll just say that when we do that, we think we're doing the responsible thing. When we're like an observer that's detached or uninfluenced by life, looking outside of life, we believe that we can be in a place where we're outside and I'm looking at my life, myself, others, and being able to see how it is. But what actually is happening now is that being outside of myself is not a possibility. So I'm already creating an illusion. And then I also say, so what's the objective truth? And then I take my opinions, my previous experience, mold them together.
My observations from being the observer.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the mind rules. Again. We think that now we're dealing with something objective that's really there, but actually I'm again going to those molds, those patterns of the past. So what I'm called to do here is to allow myself to, along with giving it time, observing in the sense of seeing what's happening as I can see it now, allow myself to feel very strongly and also very, it's very raw. It's not with many words. It's not with many, I don't derive from that anything. I just experience this like I'm going out of the sun. Here, there's beautiful sun here. So I'm going into the sun. I give myself over to the sun. Yeah, it does to me whatever a sun does to. So when I do that, the meaning of observation is when I'm in life, when there's only one, and I cannot go out of it, looking at it from the outside, there is a possibility to observe myself through myself. And that is, in yoga, it's called the eyes that are in the back. There are like two sets of eyes, those in the front of the face, looking outwards, and those on the back, allowing myself to observe myself. What do we really mean? What if we do that, really, not playing with the mind, and now the mind says that it knows what's happening to me, analyzing, sometimes psychology, and so on. If we don't go there, we don't explain things and call them by names, then what happens is that there is a me that is not the image I've grown to believe that was me. It is not made out of thoughts. It's an energy of life and light that is unique, not by my doings, but because God or nature
by
or
being.
The spirit itself, the way that it is, reflects itself or uses me to reflect itself through me. And the only thing that I have to make sure that I do is allow it to do that. I don't need to know where I'm going. I don't need to know who I am. Actually, the opposite is true. The minute I think that I know who I am, I'll allow this nature of things to occur only mildly, only under certain circumstances, only
if I agree.
I agree or believe that I can.
Yeah.
Maybe because I believe that it would destroy me, that it would burn me. like electricity that goes through I don't know how you say the word in English, but
wires.
It's wires and those things that you make an electric circle with it. That is being responsible. It's understanding that along with giving it time, I need to allow it to reveal itself to me. And therefore, I need to, I'm called for letting myself be the observer, meaning coming to know this entity, this wisdom that is us, that is not this image that I've created along life, making conclusions, creating an identity, discerning myself through the ability of my mind to be something and not other. Okay, that is something that looks to the mind as very passive, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing, literally doing something. I'm not deciding anything. I'm not hoping for anything. I'm not withdrawing or preventing or solving anything. So the mind says, so what the heck? What are you doing? It's nothing. What do you think will happen? But if I plant my feet in the understanding that life is happening with me or without me, first of all, and that it is a creation that is way beyond our ability to grasp or to work with. And then I also understand through my observation in the marketplace, in life, through everything that's happening, that I am not this image that I've grown to believe that I am. And there is this immediate, simple, easy, beautiful, very wise, and eternal being that is what really is. When we say truth, we mean that it is not a very strong opinion. It is not something that we've proved through anything. We can prove very scientifically and then know that it was a mistake, that it was an illusion.
It was just as far as we saw. Like
as our minds went.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
As our minds took us.
Yeah, and we called it fact.
Yeah. And when we, in the book, we called it the river. And it's an opening, right? It's an opening.
It's part. Between chapter 2 and 3.
Yeah. So when we look at ourselves thinking or knowing that we are the river, that it's not that we dip in the river, we are the river.
Yeah, we can't get in and out.
Yeah, you can't get in and out, and you also not separate from the river. The river is you, and it is not called Ruti or Noah, and yet we are the river. And sometimes people will say the river today acted in a certain way that was magnificent, and someone will say Noah. And you will have to know that it is true and it is not an identity. That there is this certain flair, this certain beauty that is Noah for some reason, but you do not know why. You just be the river, okay? that is truth. When we say that something is true, how would I'll reframe? How would our lives look like? If we walk in life knowing that truth is not accessible to us through thoughts. The thoughts can write poetry on it. They can create a longing for it so that I can remember, I can give myself over again and again and again to this river that is us. Meaning I did not leave it, but I lived as if I left it. So remembering, returning in the sense of our acknowledgement that that's how it is and that there is nothing else. So if I know that every thought can praise the glory of it, but cannot grasp what it is, cannot make me understand what it is, but gives me life through that, then how would I be? How would I be getting up in the morning? How would I go about my life when I drive to work, or when I clean the house, or when I look at the eyes of my children, or when I'm at war, or when I'm in conflict, or when I'm in the midst of divorce? How would that look when I am giving birth? How would that look like? That is so beautiful to ask that, because that is the most and maybe ultimate question, responsible question that a person could ask. If I am not my thought, if I am not the image that I held about myself and about the world, then what really is? And I look at it and I dwell. This means that I would also do things that would be sometimes looked upon as utterly beautiful or inspiring or smart or wise in dollars too, okay? Not wise in the spirit, in the sense of the abstract, but wise in the spirit, wise because they're true, because they're complying to our true nature, and then results come out of them. It's like through them, reality can be created. But it's not I who create. It is through me that it is created. And the more I'm aware of that dimension, the more I'm alive in the sense of really knowing, really acknowledging, really complying to that I am.
These actions that you will take that might seem really, really wise from another perspective, or from a person looking that maybe doesn't see or doesn't know. Maybe he will feel it, or she will feel something, but in their mind, you might seem fool,
Exactly.
like a fool, like childish, maybe a dreamer, maybe stupid.
Yeah. So it's important that you said that. So first of all, we have to know that we did that to other people also. So let's be compassionate.
Yeah.
People are saying this a lot around the world, saying things that look like they were, influenced by something that possessed them, or made numb, or they lost it. And actually they were seeing things that nobody yet saw.
Yeah.
So first of all, with compassion. Secondly, with understanding that does not mean that what you see or feel is not true.
Or you shouldn't do or say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing is that you want to use that because we are one. So if you hear a voice and you think that it's like this person or the other, know that always it's a voice within you also. It may be, smaller, it may be not as significant as the one that you hear from another person, in the sense that he really believes that, and you might, still have something unsolved there, or something that's still nagging. But if we don't look only at the proportions of anything, then when a voice is sounded on the outside, you want to acknowledge that it's your voice, and then look at it and say, is that how it really is?
Or like, do I, okay, I hear you. Sometimes I'll be in a situation and I'll be like, what are you doing here? Or why are you saying that? And I hear this voice, and I, like you say, I look at it. I'm coached enough to hear it, but not necessarily believing it all the way, or necessarily following it. But I hear it, and I often say, I answer to this voice, I don't know.
Right.
And this is something that my mind had to learn to accept.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm here.
In many senses, in Judaism, there is the mikveh. The mikveh is the place where you go to like baptize, but not once in a life. But I think most religious people go every Friday, if I'm not mistaken, once a week, I think. And that place, in its spiritual function, is a place where you do exactly that. You enter the water, which is always the place where everything can dissolve and become one. It washes away, not dirt. It washes away what you thought you were, the way that you were looking at the world. You let that be taken by the water, and then you come out with a clean heart and an openness to the oneness. And you say, now I'm ready. I'm ready to accept Shabbat, which is a holy day, or I'm ready to hold my baby or breastfeed him, or I'm ready to start anew. Okay, but that's not my doing. I did not clean. The nature of the water did whatever needs to be done. And
I just showed up.
Showed up and I said yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I allowed it to happen. And that's something that mind goes passive, but it's the most
responsible.
Responsible thing to do.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.